St. Charles County School of Nursing, number 1 Academy Place.
14 responding.
9606 responding.
9214 responding.
The scene? A school gymnasium. The call? An active shooter has opened fire, injuring dozens of victims. With people needing help, emergency personnel will need to work together to effectively secure the site and triage the victims. First responders pray they'll never need to respond to a situation like this. And while today is just a training exercise, the skills learned during this exercise can save lives in the future.
Well, the scenario is that there's an active shooter. There's multiple victims. The initial contact team of law enforcement, police, apprehended the bad guy. We're not sure that there might be more than one bad guy. So because of that, we have to form up into what we call a rescue task force. And that consists of law enforcement and rescue personnel working together. Law enforcement provides security in an environment that we're not 100% sure is safe, but we know we have victims, and we're not going to wait.
This is called a mass casualty incident, and special skills are needed to appropriately handle the challenges an incident like this can cause for our emergency personnel. That's why the St. Charles County Ambulance District, Fire Protection District, and police forces from throughout St. Charles County come together each year to practice these nightmare scenarios. Previous mass casualty incident training events included a variety of bus crashes involving different types of vehicles and incidents. Last year's training involved an aerosol chemical spray spreading across a field full of people. Each of these requires a different approach and new skills. And this year's training, featuring the aftermath of an active shooter, required even more cooperation between all the responding agencies. During the scenario, police needed to keep EMS staff safe as they dealt with injuries. Trainers made the scenario as real as possible, with simulated victims crying for help, all while fake smoke filled the air and disorienting emergency alarms blared. A mass casualty incident response plan is only as effective as its weakest link, so it's critical to practice these skills together before they're needed.
We wanted to be comfortable working together. It's pretty novel, pretty new that we have police, fire, and EMS all working together hand in hand, side by side. So we really want them to get that takeaway is that that's the appropriate way to handle these types of scenarios and then to get comfortable doing it.
Anytime you have an active shooter, an active assailant environment, there's some very specific things that we need to practice in order to be most efficient. What I'm hoping for is the muscle memory of knowing that if something like this happens, God forbid, and the first responders, the first people on the scene will know to form up in these rescue task forces with security, with armed law enforcement, and make entry and try to do some good for the injured patients.
It's impossible to predict the future, but the lessons learned during this mass casualty incident training will save lives. Whether it's an active shooter like today's scenario, or a massive car crash or natural disaster, our emergency crews will be ready to step in and get the job done.
The training environment is the place to practice so that if we have this type of incident, we want to handle it as efficiently and as well as we possibly can. It's going to be a terrible situation no matter what it is. We just want to be able to mitigate it, take care of patients, and get them transported to the hospital as efficiently as we can.